Rhiannon Scott. I'm based in Sheffield here, and I'm a singer-songwriter, musician.
My name is Annabelle Standley, and I'm a musician on the live Sheffield music scene and a sound engineer for live sound and DJs.
Grace, Tracy and Sophie, Surreal Appeal.
My name is Jo Towler and I'm the Chief Executive of Music in the Round.
My name is Mim Suleiman. I'm a musician.
I'm Sarah Hennigan and I'm a freelance musician.
My name's Anna Hawkins and I'm lots of things, but today I'm a musician. I'm a guitar player, a bass player, singer, songwriter.
I'm Charlotte Green and I'm a producer and DJ specialising in jungle and drum and bass from Sheffield.
So you've brought an object along with you, which sort of tells your story. Do you want to tell me about it?
Should I get it? Should I grab it? Yeah, it tells some of my story. So this, as you probably will recognise, is a cassette case, and it belonged to my dad. And I haven't opened this in a while. Look at those hinges. They've had some welly. So my dad had loads of these under his bed, and it was kind of like, don't touch them. Don't go near his cassette collection. And then, when I was 17, I was watching the L Word for the first time, and I'd wait for my parents to go to bed before watching it. It wasn't out to them. And the first season of that show had a fantastic soundtrack. And every time there was a song on there that I was interested by, I'm like, Dad, have you heard of Joan Armatrading? He'd be like, yeah, cassette's upstairs. And in this one, there was just everything that I ever needed to know.
So this is my condenser mic, and I brought this because it sparks a lot of memories. I've had it for quite a long time, and I've recorded a lot of people and different musicians on it, and one of my favourite memories of it is in my last house. I didn't have any sound protection of the room, so I had to improvise and stick my friend who was recording in a cupboard in my wardrobe. So I had to shut the door, and then I forgot about her for a while because I went downstairs and had to answer the door.
Okay. Magic bag, I can't reach it. Do 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 do. Help her, help her.
Help her, help her.
Oh,
help
yeah.
Mama, sweetie.
Oh, thank you,
Help
sweetie.
Mama, sweetie.
Thank you, darling. This is my object. This is a coconut grater. Wow. But it's obviously an amateur miniature of it, of the full size. So the full size will be something that you can sit on. And here you can see that iron flat plate with like a saw, grated like saw, very sharp. And that's what we grated coconut. Often you'll hear, there will be like, and it rotates. So, for me, I always hear music with it. Deeper, 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 deeper. And then when I could do it myself, that's how I sort of entertain myself. Deeper, 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 deeper. But it plays a big part in my childhood, in my music.
I think, especially as women in the music business, you are very much scrutinised for how you look. It was about us being sort of really happy in ourselves, comfortable in our own images and really comfortable with the music we were making together. We've all kind of been on a bit of a journey together. I had a baby and Grace came out. Tracy has been a really great friend to us both, and also, I'm sure, probably had a few self-realizations of your own, perhaps, making music and writing those lyrics that people really relate to. So that's why we chose The Mirror.
And it's interesting that as well as the mirror, you've chosen the mirror board.
We thought they were quite a good example and appropriately kitschy for what we're talking about. Fun. And yes, and actually, can't beat a mirror ball, can you?
The 90s was a very fun time in music, I think, and it was like not wanting to replicate 90s music, but just that fun feel of like this is where you want to be while you're listening to this track, and So the mirror ball is definitely that representing a fun element. I think encapsulate how we are as well.
It's a big homemade sign that says backyard sessions on it, probably like 6 or 7 years old. It's from this kind of DIY music night that I used to do in whatever rented house that I was living in. So it's kind of like So Far Sounds, but even more DIY than that. Kind of was born initially in one house with a friend's leaving do, and it was genuinely in our backyard, and it was a beautiful summer evening, and we just got a bunch of friends to come and play.
So my object is a captain's hat. Because my granddad was a fisherman, I sort of decided that I wanted to buy this. When I played my first open mic, I was about 16 years old, and I wore this hat.
The grand reveal, okay. So we've got bell. So this is what comes in 2 parts, just to make it easier to carry. So we have, this is the main bit of it, and this is the bell. What we do, it's called a screw bell, who'd have thought? And the vital bit, of course, is the mouthpiece. And there we are. That is a French horn.
I have brought my beloved guitar. It's a Fender Telecaster thin line. The thin line means it has this semi-hollow body. So it has this hole here, which is the same shape hole as you'll get on a violin or on a cello. So it's a really classical instrument shape, the S hole. I brought this object because this is the first musical instrument that I bought for myself.
I adore being in Sheffield making music. I feel like there's so much talent here. I feel like I play with world-class players that are all my friends. Like my friends are musicians, and then the musicians I meet become friends, and what could be nicer?
Because I moved from Bradford, and there's not really... Like, there is a music scene, but it's not like a very good music scene or big music scene. So it was nice to come to Sheffield and meet more musicians and more people who are into like jungle, which is what I love. I've managed to meet people from all over the country through it.
The wonderful thing about Sheffield, actually, is that a lot of the arts organisations, like the galleries, the museums and what have you, are run by women.
Sheffield's a funny one. It's not, there's no conservatoire here. There's no music school. So you're not getting that kind of pool of players or younger players or scene like you do maybe in Manchester or Leeds or London, obviously. But there are a lot of musicians who do live here. It's just that maybe their work isn't necessarily in Sheffield. I think as well, Sheffield is great for its DIY music, especially folk music. I feel it's quite nurturing. It's very queer, and I like that as a queer person.
There was always music on in the house, yeah. And my mum's taste and my dad's taste were very different. It's nice to have such a good mix between them. Yeah, I remember one of my first girlfriends was saying that there was no music on in their house and that their mum didn't really like music. And I'd never come across that before at all. I thought, how can that be? Music's such a big part of my world.
When I was younger, we used to help put on free parties and stuff, and I've always been around like sound systems and decks and stuff, so just like a natural progression. And then started making music. Most of everything I've done is pretty self-taught, so.
I wasn't that experienced in any form of, didn't do a music lesson at school. I had no musical background whatsoever. And not even experienced to know that person is an experienced musician. This one isn't, no.
Yeah, we met in Club 60. Well, me and Tracy knew each other before, but we all kind of sort of became really good friends at Club 60, which was an underground sort of members club in Shelsmore for over a decade. And that's where we recorded our Cuckoo Clocks album, but we used to do a lot of music down there and get involved with the gigs and stuff. I used to DJ quite a lot down there. Club 60 was a catalyst for lots of things, and us all becoming solid friends, definitely, I think Club 60 is where that happened.
Yeah, that's where I met you guys.
Yeah.
You used to do the sound, didn't you?
Yeah.
As a kid, as an adult, I play different instruments. We had a piano at home as well, so that was loads of fun. My brother had a drum kit that I would sneak into his room and play. So we just picked it up, and I played guitar as well. And then came to uni, and I didn't really do much of it when I was studying. I was in a samba band. And then when I got into teaching, a friend just said, "Oh, you play drums, right?" It's like, "Not really." So come and join our band. So, okay, sure. And then I kind of just really fell in love with drums. So that's my main instrument now.
So I did performing arts in secondary school and a bit in primary school. It was fun to also do the backstage projects, helping with props and lighting and sound, but also it really brought out my confidence being on stage as a performer, whether it was acting, singing, playing an instrument or dancing.
I was lucky because the primary school had a school orchestra. I'm going to say school orchestra. I mean, it was, sort of 7 violins, as it turns out, 4 French horns, loads of flutes and 1 cello or whatever. I think it would be 9 at that time. I started going to Horsewood Music Centre when I started playing in beginners orchestra. And so I was only about 13, I think, when I joined Leeds Youth Orchestra, which is really quite young. And I made friends that I'm still with now. That's where you do make your friends, because you have that in common, I guess, much more than school.
For all of us, being in this band, for a variety of reasons, has been really important to getting through the COVID wave and the craziness of the last few years. For me, on a personal level, you two have been 2 of my bestest allies and friends that I could have asked for, and been amazing. And without being in this band, that wouldn't have been quite so strong, would it? So
the music as well is all brought us together to have a very strong connection, I think, hasn't it? And all the
I'm going to stop singing. I'm going to start crying.
Yeah.
I think it's really important that people help each other to achieve what they want to in regards to music and performing arts, because it's not an easy game. But a lot of people are just doing it because they love it. And it's really important that we can express ourselves creatively.
I have started doing other collaborations, and I feel like this is a real opportunity opening up now, just to realise that lots of people are interested in collaborating just for the process, not necessarily with a particular outcome in mind, but just to be involved in sharing and a kind of, a collaborative creative process.
It's lazy to say that there aren't female musicians out there of quality, and I think it's just false. There are so many talented women in the city and beyond, and encouraging people to make conscious choices about who they work with and who they choose to employ and collaborate with. Maybe not just go for the easy choice, or ask yourself why you're choosing to work with the people that you work with, and could that be different in any way? And if it's not, that's fine, but just asking that question.